In this session, I would like to demonstrate how scripting with BIM Python can be helpful when it comes to automating BIM workflows. BIM Python provides a high-level query language in Python that is designed to simplify and automate all sorts of data management-related tasks, from simple error checking to extending the data model by calculations or exporting data to different file formats. These are all problems that can be tackled by simple scripts, saving you quite some manual work. Let me walk you through some useful examples and show you the new features of BIM Python. For getting started, let's navigate to the file stop of the project browser, where you can import one of the example scripts shipped with the BricsCAD installation, or you can just start with a plain empty text file with a py extension. Python itself is included in the BricsCAD application, so there is no need to install anything additionally. I will now go ahead and open this file in a text editor. The first thing we need to do in the script is use the import statement, import BricsCAD, and then to gain access of the model space of the active document, I'll write BricsCAD.bim and then call the method current model, and let's just print current model to the command line. So I save the script and go back to BricsCAD project browser, where I can execute the script, and if I open the command line, I can see a list of all the objects in the model space listed. Of course, often we want to work with just a specific subset of the model, and for that we can use the method filter. For example, let's filter for type equals wall, so we can get all the walls in the model. Or if we want some additional conditions, for example, we want all the external walls in the model, then just continue and say is external equals true. Let's go back to BricsCAD and execute the script. And then we have a list of all the external walls of the model. It's a very common task to create some sort of identification in a model, for example, numbering or naming the objects. So let me show you how this can be tackled with a simple Python script. First of all, I'll start the script with the import statement from BricsCAD.bim. Let's import the current model. And as a basic solution, let's simply count all the objects in the model. So I'll initialize a count variable to 0, and then I'll write for entity in the current model, and I will set the property number to the current count. Set property number to count. Only we have to make sure to pass a string value, because the property number is a string in fact. And then we just have to increment the count. Great, we have counted the objects in the model, but in fact we can do much better than that. For example, we might want to restart the count per each BIM type and per each floor. To do that, I will use special counter objects from collection. So we don't need this anymore. Let's initialize the counter here. And first, let's get the BIM type of the entity. So BIM type equals entity.get property type, and story. Let's call it floor. And then all we need to do is to pass the BIM type and the floor combined to the counter, and of course increment it the same way. So in this way we will find a unique number for each object per BIM type per story. Let's make now the numbering more useful by first sorting the model based on spatial position. So I will use the Python built-in function sorted, and I will also define a helper function position and find a characteristic point on the object. Object.get property centroid in case object is a solid, or if no point is found, let's use the property position, which is nothing else than the insertion point of a block ref. And then I want the y coordinate of this characteristic point to be compared. So I just return pt.y and then pass this function as a keyword argument, key equals position. Now we have defined the sorting on the model, so the numbering can reflect in fact that sorting. In this next example, I would like to show you how you can calculate the weight of walls. The walls have composition, of course, so to find the weight of the wall, first of all we need to find the weight of each individual ply, and for that let's create a helper function. So I'll write def calculate weight ply, and then the weight of the ply is of course volume times density, and to access the ply volume and the ply density we will use the get property method. So ply.get property, and the name of the property is ply net volume, and the density is simply density, and the result is volume times density, and we just need to return this value. Once we have this, let's filter the model for walls. So I'll write for wall in current model dot filter, type is wall, and of course the first thing we need is the plies of the wall, wall.plies, and the weight of the wall is going to be the sum of calculate weight ply for ply in, and let's use this wall.plies. So once we have this value, for the sake of simplicity I'll just assign it as a description of the wall, wall.set property description, but we could use the same way a custom property dedicated for weight, of course. And here comes the value. Since description has a value type of string, we need to turn the weight into a string, and my model is in millimeters, so I'll also use some scale, and also let's round this volume to a single digit and close the bracket. And there we have it. Let's go back to the model and execute the script. And let's check this wall. And there we have its weight. In the next example, I will do some data analysis using the Python library pandas. For importing additional Python libraries in BricsCAD, like pandas, first of all, we need to have a system installed Python. The Python installation comes with a package manager called pip, which can be used from the command line by simply typing pip install pandas. So now I have pandas installed in my system, and to be able to import pandas in BricsCAD, we will need to add the location of the installation to the module search path. I will get back to this later when I explain the script. Back to the plan I have open. As you can see, I have the spaces colored according to their occupation type, and what I would like to do is to calculate and show the distribution of the areas of the different space types. I have a ready-made script for that, which I will now show and explain. To be able to import the module pandas, first of all I extend the module search path using the add_site_dir method, where I pass the location where pandas has been installed previously, and then I can import it without any problems. So without getting into too much detail, I create a pandas data frame that contains the total area of each space type, and I simply plot this data frame. And I use a pie chart kind of plot, and I also, since I want the plot to nicely match my type plan, I use the same color codes for the space types. And then I just save this plot to disk in the images folder in the project. So let's go back to BricsCAD and run the script. Note that this model only contains xrefs, but I can query the complete model from this master model. And once I refresh the project browser, I can see the image appearing. Let's attach the image to the sheet. So now we have a nice visualization of the space areas. This concludes my demo of the newest features of BIM Python. Thank you for your attention, and I hope to see you next time.